Thing with Khamzat too is after, again, you could chalk it up to the weight cut. That second round when he doesn't land that takedown and falls to his back, I'm like, oh, he's cooked.
Dude, I think
we're
his
6 minutes
body
into the
was
motherfucking fight and you're cooked.
His body was shutting down, and he realized that he went real hard in the first round, but doesn't have the gas tank. He said, "Let me coast. I can survive on the bottom here, but I need to catch my breath if I'm going to try to finish this guy." It might have been a strategy.
And he got better that third, fourth, fifth round.
Right, because the strategy might have been, listen, if I'm on my back, no big, like he tries for a takedown, can't get it. He realized, like, oh, Jesus, I'm not going to be able to fight standing up like this for 5 minutes after that first round, because his body almost shut down 24 hours ago. 24 hours ago, it is the dumbest fucking thing we do in the sport, where we allow these people to pretend that they weigh a certain way. Mm-hmm. You pretend oh, it's a 185-pound fight. The fuck it is.
Yeah, both
neither
those
one of
boys
those
over
guys.
200.
100%.
And Strickland is actually a bigger guy than him.
Strickland's a big boy.
Strickland that night in the cage is bigger. He's a wild boy.
He's a wild boy. So they gave him like a 8-month suspension, something like that, 6-month suspension, whatever it was. So you see him against Hernandez where he's perfect, and he looks fucking phenomenal.
Best I've ever seen.
His striking looked phenomenal. Everything looked phenomenal. And I'm like, oh God, he looks like a better version of the guy who beat Izzy. He looked better.
Best we've ever seen.
And then he beats Khamzat with one shoulder. And so if you count him out based on that fight, where I thought Khamzat won, a lot of people did. Look, it's a lot of people that know fighting thought Khamzat won. There's a lot. I think it's split among journalists. I think I was reading something.
Yeah, go easy on journalists.
I don't really read anything, by the way. I really read the headlines, and then I move on.
You gotta be careful with journalists. I'll listen to former fighters or people that have been around the game a long, long time. If you have Khamzat winning, yeah, okay. Nobody was robbed. But I can give you a pretty good argument why Strickland won that fight.
Yes,
you know, I can give you a damn good argument.
This was a big moment where Sean Strickland stuffed Khamzat's takedown. Khamzat didn't even reshoot. He didn't re-wrestle. He went to his back. That was a huge moment. And Strickland's gonna come out and pop him with jabs. Look at this. He's gonna start popping him with jabs. It's crazy, and then DDP beat Strickland. Styles are crazy, bro. Bro, Strickland's style is just wild to me. It looks like you're easy to hit, but he's so hard to hit. He's so confident in that little bubble. Wow. These big kicks from Khamzat are just, dude, you have 15 minutes throwing these big body kicks. Oh, Strickland's landed some big shots. 3 minutes left in this third round. Khamzat hasn't done really anything. Bro, if this is the pace, the next 15 minutes, next 12 minutes, whatever, Strickland wins these 10 out of 10 times. Gained a lot of respect for Sean Strickland right now. Holy shit. He might be my favorite fighter. He's my favorite fighter. All right, round 4, here we go. 2-1, Strickland up against Khamzat going into the fourth. Who would have thunk? Khamzat doesn't look terrible, but it's like, this isn't the way to beat Sean again.
When Joe Rogan started talking about the battle between Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev, you could tell right away this was way more than just another UFC matchup to him. Rogan was locked in on every little detail, from Sean pushing through a messed up shoulder to Khamzat slowing down hard once the later rounds kicked in. The wild part is people are still arguing nonstop about who really deserved the win. Some fans swear Khamzat's wrestling controlled the fight, while others believe Sean's pressure, cardio, and damage completely shifted the momentum late in the war inside the cage. Rogan also went deeper than just the action during the fight.
Yeah.
He's always going after you in the final round. Like the final round with Izzy, when he's got his hands down, he's screaming at Izzy, "Come on!"
He looks better. Yeah, he gets better as the fight goes on.
Yeah, and Izzy had noticeably faded by that final round. Part of that because of the beating that he took in the first.
Correct.
Right. I mean, he got
dropped too.
Super close to stopped, probably concussed in the first. You know, I mean, that fucking straight punch that he landed where he spun Izzy's head around and then hit him with how many fucking left hands in a row?
Yep.
15, 20 left hands in a row. I mean, let's count them.
Yeah.
Let's watch that and count them because it's crazy. He just bang, 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 bang. If you think you're going to go and just fight normal after that,
that's not happening.
You're concussed.
You're compromised.
Probably you have a concussion.
Yes.
Just by the way he went down, his head spun around. It was a right hand, right? Wasn't it a right hand?
It was a right hand, yeah, and it spun
picture
around,
perfect
and then
right hand.
wow.
Picture perfect straight right. I mean, it was picture perfect. And you don't get a cleaner, better right hand. And then blast him with all those punches in the clinch. You're gone after that. You're a shell of yourself.
You're gone.
Joe Rogan was clearly backing Sean Strickland during the conversation, and he kept pointing out how dangerous Sean becomes once a fight gets dragged into deep waters. Rogan said Sean's cardio and stamina are on a completely different level, which is why he believed Khamzat Chimaev would eventually start fading if he couldn't finish things early. According to Rogan, that pressure and non-stop pace can break almost anybody down over time. He also explained that Khamzat's style depends heavily on taking opponents down, controlling them, and doing it without burning too much energy. But Sean, in Rogan's eyes, is one of the hardest fighters in the division to keep trapped like that. Rogan even gave Sean credit for his underrated grappling skills and pointed out moments where Sean reversed positions and nearly tossed Khamzat around during the later rounds.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I was nut riding for Strickland the whole time. I was like, that guy is the fucking captain of the deep water. He knows how to go into deep water, man, and he knows how to survive. He can survive. And the thing about Khamzat is, if he takes you down, he wants to hold you down and just beat on you and not expand a lot of energy like you did with Demetrious.
That's an issue.
You can't do that with Sean. Mm-hmm. Sean is not going to sit still. He's very hard to hold down. He's got super underrated grappling. Super underrated. You know, when you saw he almost threw Khamzat, like later in the fight, you know, and he did wind up on top multiple times. Like, he ain't easy for anybody.
Far from it.
And he had a blown out shoulder.
Boom. That's the other thing. Everyone's like, well, you know, Khamzat was compromised because the weight cut. It's like, well, hold on.
Sean had one arm.
Sean had one fucking arm. And when he did throw that right hand in that second round, he wobbled Khamzat. No one wants to talk about that. The most significant punch was in the second round.
Yeah.
He flash knocks out Khamzat, and Khamzat's like, oh,
and he
shit.
probably fucking jolted his shoulder with pain.
And still defended the takedown.
Noticed he was doing this at the beginning of the fight.
The second major thing Joe Rogan brought up was Sean Strickland's shoulder injury and how much it may have affected his striking during the fight. Rogan noticed that Sean looked a little off whenever he threw his right hand, almost like he didn't fully trust the shoulder or wanted to avoid putting too much power into it. That small detail stood out to Rogan right away during the breakdown. Rogan compared it to some of Sean's earlier performances, where he looked completely healthy, sharp, and fully in control. He especially mentioned Sean's fight against Abuz Magomedov, saying Sean looked even more dangerous there than he did in the upset win over Israel Adesanya.
Second fight with DDP, he fucked his shoulder up too. Driving a dirt bike like a fucking psychopath.
Crazy.
Crashed his dirt bike, fucked his shoulder up, and they told him he had to fight. So he had to take the fight. So he had to take the fight with a fucked up shoulder. And one of the things you notice about when he's throwing right hands, in particular in this fight, I noticed they were awkward sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes they just looked weird. Like he was trying not to use his shoulder or something.
Like compromised.
Yes, 100%. And I saw some of that in the second Strickland, second DDP fight, you know, where it looked like he was kind of throwing his punches weird. You know, which sometimes he does anyway because he goes around the guard.
It's awkward.
It's strategic.
Yeah.
He's throwing shit that you're not going to block correctly, and then he's going to land you clean shots. But when you see him when there's nothing wrong with him, like he had this giant break because he punched somebody in some fucking low-level promotion.
Oh,
right?
that's right.
Got in a cage, punched somebody.
Yeah.
So so they gave him.
He's a wild boy.
He's a wild boy. So they gave him like a 8-month suspension, something like that, 6-month suspension, whatever it was. So you see him against Hernandez when he's perfect, and he looks fucking phenomenal.
Best I've ever seen.
His striking looked phenomenal. Everything looked phenomenal. And I'm like, oh God, he looks like a better version of the guy who beat Izzy. He looked better.
Best we've ever seen.
And then he beat.
As soon as the conversation shifted back to Khamzat Chimaev, Joe Rogan started talking about the physical stress and body issues Khamzat may have been dealing with before the fight. Rogan hinted that Khamzat had packed on serious muscle while possibly preparing for a move up to the light heavyweight division at 205 pounds, only to later cut a massive amount of weight to return to middleweight. That kind of weight swing can hit a fighter hard, especially before a high-pressure matchup like this. In Rogan's view, the weight cut sounded absolutely brutal, and he suggested Khamzat's body may have already been drained before he even stepped inside the cage.
What is it? It's 2.2. Okay, so
but
somewhere
I think
around.
he was 230.
That's a lot, though.
That's
If you're
a lot of
already
weight.
dying, you got to lose 2 pounds of water.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
2 16-ounce bottles of water.
But when he was, let's say, 230 or maybe 235, how many weeks out was that? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because when Strickland beat Fluffy, they were like, hey, forget this Yuri fight. You're fighting at 85. It's a few months.
It's a few months, but
You know?
when you have muscle and not fat, it is a problem. It's a real problem. It's not the same problem. So if you get big like Strickland gets in between fights, like Strickland, there's a lot of videos of him training where he's got almost like a belly.
Yeah.
He's heavy,
Yeah.
and he makes fun of himself. He's fat. That's a different fat. That's different
Agreed.
to lose.
It's
You
not
can lose
muscle.
that. You can lose that. That's not a problem to lose. When you're bulked up, your body has decided that now you're 230 pounds and you're still working out all the time. So your body's using those muscles all the time. So if you want those muscles to shrink, they literally have to eat themselves.
Yeah.
So you have to fucking starve yourself. Or you do a radical dehydration, which brings you to the brink of death.
And that's what
And it
fucks you.
seems like
Joe Rogan wrapped things up by going back to Sean Strickland's toughness and insane conditioning. Rogan explained that one of the biggest differences between Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev is how they react as the fight goes on. In Rogan's eyes, Sean actually gets stronger and more dangerous in the later rounds, while Khamzat looked completely drained once the pace stayed high for too long. Rogan said this has become one of Sean's trademarks inside the cage: nonstop pressure, steady cardio, and the ability to wear opponents down over time. He also believed Khamzat started slowing himself down during the fight after realizing he couldn't keep that explosive pace going for the entire bout.
Yeah.
he's always going after you in the final round. Like the final round with Izzy, when he's got his hands down, he's screaming at Izzy, "Come on!"
He looks
Let's
better. Yeah,
fucking
he
go."
gets better as the
Yeah.
fight goes on.
Yeah, and Izzy had noticeably faded by that final round. Part of that because of the beating that he took in the first.
Correct.
Right. I mean, he got
dropped too.
super close to stopped, probably concussed in the first. You know, I mean, that fucking straight punch that he landed where he spun Izzy's head around and then hit him with how many fucking left hands in a row?
Yep.
15, 20 left hands in a row?
You'd be
I mean,
fucked up.
let's count them.
Yeah.
Let's watch that and count them because it's crazy. He just bang, 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 bang. If you think you're going to go and just fight normal
No.
after that,
That's not happening.
you're concussed.
You're compromised.
Probably you have a concussion.
Yes.
Just by the way he went down, his head spun around. It was a right hand, right? Wasn't it a right hand?
It was the right hand, yeah, and it spun
Picture
around,
perfect
and then
right
he's
hand.
just, wow.
Picture perfect straight right. I mean, it was picture perfect. And you don't get a cleaner, better right hand. And then blast him with all those punches in the clinch. You're gone after that. You're a shell of yourself.
You're gone.
Michael Bisping broke down just how brutal Khamzat Chimaev's weight cut reportedly became before the fight with Sean Strickland. Bisping explained that Khamzat allegedly reached a point where his body started shutting down while trying to lose the last few pounds. Reports claimed Khamzat was dealing with oxygen issues and had to stop the weight cut for nearly an hour because things were getting too dangerous physically. Bisping used that situation to highlight how extreme modern MMA weight cuts have become, saying fighters constantly push themselves to the absolute edge just to gain an advantage on fight night. Bisping also pointed out that Khamzat's wrestling looked far less effective once his gas tank started fading. He explained that after the opening round, Khamzat was still getting takedowns, but wasn't doing much real damage with them. As the fight kept going, the takedowns started disappearing almost completely. Bisping even admitted there was a moment where Khamzat looked so exhausted that he wondered if he might mentally check out of the fight, but he respected the fact that Khamzat kept battling all the way to the final bell. Chael Sonnen completely rejected the story that Khamzat dropped an impossible amount of weight before facing Sean Strickland. Chael said the famous 46 pounds in 1 week claim made no sense mathematically, and he couldn't believe how many people in the MMA world accepted it as fact. According to Sonnen, the human body simply cannot lose that much actual weight in 7 days, no matter how disciplined or tough the fighter may be. Chael explained that fans were taking the story too literally and using it as a built-in excuse for Khamzat's performance. He started breaking down the numbers carefully, saying that even if someone stopped eating entirely for a week, losing over 6 pounds every single day still wouldn't realistically happen. Sonnen even compared it to his own fighting career, describing how strict he had to be with dieting, training twice a day, and tracking every little thing he consumed just to lose a few pounds properly and safely. His overall point was simple: weight cutting is already extremely difficult for elite fighters, which is why the 46-pound story sounded completely exaggerated to him from the beginning. Sean O'Malley admitted right away that he felt nervous watching Sean Strickland fight Khamzat Chimaev because he knew how dangerous Khamzat can be in the opening rounds. O'Malley kept saying the longer the fight lasted, the more the matchup favored Sean because of his cardio, pressure, and non-stop pace. But once the fight started, and Khamzat immediately shot in for a takedown, O'Malley sounded stunned by how easily the first one worked. He pointed out Sean's upright stance, and said it almost opened the door for Khamzat to attack the legs instantly. As Khamzat controlled the early part of the fight, O'Malley noticed that despite the strong positional control, there wasn't a huge amount of damage being landed. Once the second round started, he began pointing out signs that Khamzat was slowing down badly. O'Malley explained how exhausting repeated takedown attempts can become, especially against someone like Sean Strickland, who keeps marching forward no matter how tired he gets. O'Malley sounded genuinely surprised by how fresh Sean still looked, while Khamzat's body language started changing minute by minute. He explained that Sean actually gets more comfortable once fights settle into a grinding pace, while Khamzat's explosiveness appeared to fade as the rounds continued. Demetrious Johnson focused heavily on the exact moment Khamzat started slowing down. DJ talked about Sean defending takedowns in the second round and said Khamzat suddenly pulling guard looked like a massive emotional and physical drop-off. He agreed with the idea that Khamzat may have suffered a huge adrenaline dump after the intense opening exchanges. According to DJ, once Khamzat realized Sean wasn't breaking mentally or physically, the momentum of the fight started shifting in a major way. DJ also shared an interesting theory about Khamzat's training habits. He said he honestly believes Khamzat may train too hard, and that constantly pushing at maximum intensity can sometimes hurt performance instead of improving it. DJ explained that cardio has limits, and once a fighter already reaches elite conditioning, overtraining can create diminishing returns instead of making someone stronger. In DJ's opinion, the real challenge is not just surviving hard workouts, but staying efficient and calm once exhaustion hits during an actual fight. He believes Sean handled those moments far better as the fight progressed. By the time the final bell sounded, reactions to Sean Strickland's shocking win over Khamzat Chimaev had turned into complete chaos online. Fans, fighters, and analysts were split everywhere, with endless debates about who really deserved the victory. Some people believed Khamzat's early dominance and wrestling control should have secured the decision, while others argued Sean completely changed the fight with pressure, cardio, defense, and non-stop jabs in the later rounds. A lot of fans were stunned that Sean managed to survive the early grappling pressure at all, especially after Khamzat controlled much of the first round so convincingly. But Sean kept pushing forward, stuffing attempts, landing jabs, and forcing Khamzat into a brutal pace as the fight continued. Social media exploded after the judges announced the decision. Some fans called it a robbery, while others celebrated it as one of the biggest and toughest victories of Sean Strickland's entire career.